You put in the hours, you leave the gym sweating, exhausted, and barely able to walk down the stairs. But months later, your numbers haven't moved and your physique looks exactly the same. Many popular routines are designed by athletes with elite genetics or those using performance-enhancing drugs. For a natural lifter, following these high-volume programs exceeds the body's capacity to repair tissue, leading to stagnation instead of growth. Many judge success by subjective feelings: massive pump, extreme sweat, deep soreness, and muscle confusion. But these are byproducts. Your body doesn't build muscle just because you're tired. True growth is a survival mechanism, demanding the specific threshold of high mechanical tension. To see a return on your gym time, you must move past seeking immediate exhaustion. You need to focus on the structural, measurable tension that forces the body to adapt. Let's look at the actual data behind these sensation-based habits. This table maps out the biological reality of chasing a muscle pump through endless, low-weight repetitions. A pump fills the muscle with blood and creates high metabolic stress. It looks great in the mirror, but without heavy resistance, the muscle fibers never experience the mechanical load required to build permanent architectural size. Then there's the habit of using sweat, nausea, or total physical collapse as the ultimate metric of success. When you push your cardiovascular system to its absolute limit, your central nervous system steps in and shuts down the set. You end up dropping the weight because your lungs are burning, long before the target muscle fibers actually reach true mechanical failure. Next-day soreness is another highly satisfying but misleading metric. People assume deep muscle damage guarantees structural growth, but high levels of soreness generally indicate that you've exposed your body to a novel, unfamiliar stimulus. Constantly switching your routine to guarantee you feel sore tomorrow destroys your ability to track steady strength progression. Prioritizing these sensations drains your energy reserves. Worse, they give you zero reliable data on whether the tissue is adapting to mechanical load. Modern workout routines are designed to keep you entertained. They favor variety and novelty over the mathematical repetition required for physical changes. The myth of muscle confusion leads lifters to rotate their exercises every single time they step onto the gym floor. Your muscles do not have a brain. They only respond to the degree of tension placed on them. Constantly swapping movements prevents you from neurologically mastering any specific lift, which makes tracking your progression mathematically impossible. This chart shows the relationship between ATP energy regeneration and the time you spend resting between sets. Notice the steep drop-off in recovery if you rest for less than 2 minutes. Rushing into your next set drastically reduces the amount of weight you can handle. You end up sacrificing the heavy tension necessary for growth for a slight bump in calorie burn. This brings us to the specific choice of performing sets of 15 to 20 reps or more to build a workout's volume. In those high rep ranges, massive lactic acid buildup creates an intense burn that forces you to quit out of physical pain. The set ends before the targeted muscle fibers are pushed close to true mechanical failure. When you prioritize sweat, taking short rests, and very high reps, you turn a weight training session into an ineffective cardio class. You bypass the biological triggers for hypertrophy entirely. Even if you select the right exercises, the way you physically execute them often directs tension away from the target muscle. Social media is flooded with influencers doing squats on Bosu balls to make their sets look more complex. This diagram highlights the problem. On an unstable surface, your force vectors are scattered. Your brain focuses entirely on keeping you from falling over. That limits your absolute force production, robbing you of the heavy load needed to trigger a growth response. The opposite extreme is ego lifting, using excessive momentum and chaotic form to heave heavier plates than you can safely handle. Swinging the weight shifts the load away from the muscle fibers and straight into your joints. You exponentially increase your risk of injury while decreasing the actual tension on the target tissue. Then there's the final extreme, lifting like a hyper-strict robot, obsessing over a deep mind-muscle connection on every single millimeter of the rep. Prioritizing an intense, localized feeling forces you to use artificially light weights. You end up sacrificing the raw mechanical tension necessary to force an evolutionary response. Proper execution lives in the middle. You need a stable base and controlled natural motion. Maximize the mechanical force directly on the target muscle, and ignore both the circus tricks and the extreme rigidity. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive for the body to maintain. Significant growth only occurs as a survival adaptation to intense, consistent environmental stress. Your body will only invest the energy required to grow and sustain new tissue if the mechanical load applied in the gym consistently demands it. This chart ranks the training factors that most effectively trigger tissue adaptation. The foundation is built on stable exercises that allow for the highest possible force production. If you need to optimize your limited time, remove pre-workout cardio and unstable variations. Focus your volume on sets of 5 to 12 reps, pushing to within 1 or 2 reps of failure, and resting long enough to feel fully recovered between sets. If you have hit a plateau, stop adopting the high-volume routines found on social media. Commit to mastering a fixed routine so you can begin accurately measuring your progress. Results in the gym require exact mathematical tracking rather than constant novelty. Growth often follows the most repetitive and predictable routines. Visual changes in muscle tissue happen too slowly to assess accurately in the short term. A training logbook provides an immediate, objective measurement to confirm that your training is forcing the biological adaptations you are after. Steady, confident, following the data in your logbook is the only way to ensure your physical effort is being successfully converted into actual, visible growth.